Well, the end of the season is on the horizon and quickly approaching. It's been a game of musical chairs to see which drivers will land in the transfer spots to move on to the Final Four in the Area Cup Series. With 2 of 4 seats spoken for and another solidifying at the drop of the green flag tonight, just one volatile slot remains. At the track formerly known as Strawberry Hill, tonight's 160-lap race is the final determination for fruits of labor to be decided as sour or sweet. Welcome aboard, everybody, to Sim TV. Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna and Hunter Slepin tonight, and Eric Wineland will join us later. Finian, Richmond Raceway. This short track has long been a elimination round in NASCAR, but certainly tonight, this is our final elimination before our championship round next week.
Yeah, you said it last week before we were coming here this week for all 3 series, or 2 of the 3 series. This is a fantastic race to have an elimination race at. It typically tends to lead to drama. It being a flat, short track, you typically have to get physical in order to make passes. And with so much on the line, like what you mentioned for these drivers, only basically 1 spot up for grabs and 5 drivers trying to clinch it, one of which pretty much needs to win tonight. There's a lot on the line, and that means that there's a big chance tempers are going to boil over, and that's when things are going to get exciting on the racetrack.
Already saw them boil over last week at Las Vegas with some of the playoff contenders. That's why you see Connor Horn there. He was at the unfortunate end of that stick, 27 points out. He's likely a must-win unless some sort of chaotic event takes place. It could happen. We are in a short track like Richmond. But Scioli and Hartz are the only ones that are not locked in currently inside the top 4. Jake Nichols already locked in on points. Travis Speckner, the first one out, 11 points behind the cut line. JT Poole, Doug Newbigging, also out by double figures over the cut line. And I gotta be honest, I think that we could see one of those guys in the bottom 4 win tonight and make their way into next week's Championship 4 event. Well,
it certainly has been true so far in the playoffs that drivers have won when they needed to. Think of Seth Knoll back at Chicagoland. Needed to win, didn't maybe need to win, but surprised everyone with that win that launched him through to the next round, and then followed it up again recently. Of course, James Scioli punted his way through once again, but now you're looking at James Scioli basically locked in with that 40 above the cut line. For Ryan Hartz and everyone else, though, it's still very much up in the air. We've seen tempers flare, as Hunter, you mentioned last week at Las Vegas. We certainly saw them, and for Connor Horn, he is going to be focused tonight. It is essentially going to be a must-win without really extreme circumstances, Finian. So for the 42, his goal is clear, but he's going to have to fight through some drivers that are performing better than him in practice. Seth Knoll, Jake Nichols, who are locked in already, and Ryan Hartz, who's third. And Ryan Hartz, all he needs to do is just do that in the race, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, depending on who you ask, somebody say Ryan Hartz is a little bit more, not necessarily locked in, but he's sitting pretty comfortable. That being said, 11 points, it could be quite a lot, but might not be quite a lot, depending if he gets caught up in a wreck or an incident early. Then, we are at a short track, so there's only so much damage you can do to these cars, especially the Cup cars, next-gen cars. They're built like tanks. If something happens to him early on and he gets put back, it really opens the door, because Backner is 11 points behind. JT Poole, 12 points behind. Douglas Newbigging, 15 points behind. They're all within 4 points of each other, so all of them really close and tight. And then, as you mentioned, again, looking at him right now, Connor Horn basically needs to win this race. You can expect for him to probably do something unorthodox, because he needs to really throw everything at the wall and just hope that it sticks in order for himself to get in. There's not really a good point stay in the line for him. He has to get out there and win this race.
Only 10 seconds left before we get to qualifying. Should point out that Ryan Hart's third quickest in practice. He was the winner here back in Season 3. So expect the 3 car to contend for the victory tonight and maybe for the pole. So we're about to kick things off, Kyle.
Yeah, so again, a reminder that those that are green on the ticker are locked in to the final round of the championship. Those that are in blue are currently above the cut line, and those that are in yellow are below it. Those are the drivers that will need to make up some points tonight in order to have a shot at the championship for next week at Homestead. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all Area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat and earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. That's twitch.tv/Area iRacing. Qualifying is underway, and for those playoff competitors, Finian, this is a critical time, especially for that 42. I think that's going to be important, and for the 3 as well. The 3, while he does have an 11-point advantage over that cut line, Finian, that can go away very quickly.
He definitely can go away very quickly, especially here in qualifying. If he gets himself near the back, he can put yourself in a lot of that traffic and have a chance of having things getting messed up for you. But as we got the start of qualifying here, James Scioli out there on the track, he's coming to start a lap in that number 7 to see if he can perform and do well. One of the really big front runners this season alongside Jake Nichols, and then recently you got to kind of throw in Seth Nolan in that conversation. He's been performing very well for the last 5 finishes for him, all in the top 5.
He rolls through the top of 3 and 4, trying to get as much momentum as possible for his lap going into turn 1. Garrett Gray and Jordan Martin, the only 2 with times currently, as more start to fill the board.
Yeah, they're going to get a couple runs at this here as well because we're under a mile tonight. And Garrett Grant goes to the top of the board on his second lap at a 22.614. Here comes James Scioli, who upon taking the green flag tonight will essentially lock himself in to next week's finale. And yes, a 22.425. He goes to the top for the time being.
Solid lap time for him. 25 thousandths of a second quicker than Cosmo Yoneshu, who will currently sit in second. Jeremy Miller coming across the line. It will be 7th. Will be dead last of all the qualifiers at the moment. Connor Horn is out sitting on pit lane at the moment. Delonte Ballard is out there running laps on the track. And there goes Connor Horn.
Did you notice there, Hunter, as Connor was rolling backwards? And I wonder if that was to, well, I thought that maybe it was to gain some more run up to the start, but he's going to reset back to pit lane.
Try to maybe, I don't know if that warms the tire up a little bit at all, but it definitely does something as he's trying to get as much as he can, even in qualifying, because it might be a track position race tonight. You never know, but see what the 42 from 609 Motorsports does.
Yeah, he's aware of all the ways to make these cars go fast. He performs at a really high level, as a lot of the drivers in this series do, but I think he's pretty well aware of all the tricks to the trade here in iRacing to get temperature into the tires. And this first lap will probably be fairly slow, just like we saw with Scioli. And I have a feeling, Finian, tonight's going to be one of those nights where the slower you go on lap 1, the faster you're going to go on lap 2.
Yeah, because ideally you want to just kind of warm up the tires on lap 1, because that's going to be your banker lap. And you can see right there, he doesn't even bother taking a decent line in 3 and 4, tries to focus all that, getting a decent run out of turn 4 at as much speed through into turn 1. Keeps it nice, low, and tidy, just right above that yellow line. You don't want to get on it and straddle the car, that'll upset it. Onto the back straightaway now, and then same thing like in 1 and 2, down nice and tidy, right on that yellow line. Keep it nice and steady, don't get on the power too quickly. And out of turn 4 across the line will be quick enough though for the 42.
Not quite, but close. Second place.
200ths off of James Scully. That's still a solid time, and if things stand as they are, should be near the front. Again, not exactly what it needs, but a solid effort.
Solid effort nonetheless, as Travis Speckner coming out, and boy, he's open for a strong night as well. Don't want to be going through the grass here. Seems like every other time we look at this 28 car, the Kalusha Pines Landscaping number 28, it's always in the grass somehow. Don't know how, don't know why, but it always seems to find itself there. And product placement 101 if you're Kalusha Pines.
I was going to say landscaping seems like his business. But down into turn 3 for Travis Speckner. Cameron Hearn goes 5th quick in the number 4. And out of turn 4, here comes Speckner across the stripe at a 22.398. That will put him to the top of the board. Provisional pole for the 28. There's still a lot of quick cars left to go, though, Finian.
Whoa, and GT Poole comes flying across the line and into the wall at the end of his lap. I think disappointed with that. He's only 8th quickest, one of those playoff drivers that needs to try to get in, as he's 6th place on the standing. I think this is, like, you can tell that kind of frustration.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Might have to whip out the backup car.
I have to whip out a backup driver. As much as that car spun, severe whiplash inside the 26.
And that was...
the number 3 of Ryan Hart is out on the track and getting warmed up. Will be coming to take the green flag.
Ooh, see, it hurt him gas up, but he had to lift. But again, this first lap is kind of a throwaway. But we'll see how much, I mean, he's going right to the bottom here, so maybe he's got a different strategy and maybe to try to go quick on that opening lap.
No, he was very off throttle. He could have got in earlier. He was taking it very easy through there. Again, not burning up the tires, just generating a little bit of heat. Then you see him go up. Same thing what we saw with Connor Horn, back down low. A little bit of a wiggle there off of 4 and across the line to start the real lap for the number 3.
Should point out that season ago, season 3, Ryan Hartz was winless up until Richmond, where he won to make it into the championship 4 and contend for a championship. So maybe history repeats itself tonight, but we'll see if the 3 can put it on pole.
I'm sure he'd like that. But across the stripe, 22.628. That's only going to be good enough for about 8th spot. Not a bad run. Here's Jake Nichols in the number 73. Now he's locked in. And in a pretty good spot. And we've talked at length about how he has had a really solid season. It just hasn't been the outright domination that we saw last season. So while he certainly is one of the favorites, Finian, I don't think it's quite a shoo-in like it was last season, despite the 3 of Hearts giving him a good run for his money back at Las Vegas last year.
No, it really isn't, because now he's been trailing, really, James Scully all season long. Remember, it took Jake Nichols quite a few rounds to even get his first win this season, and then now you have Seth Knoll kind of rising through and starting to really perform in his number 1 machine. So arguably going into the final round, we got really 3 solid names that have a really solid shot, which is a lot nicer, as people watching, for the fans watching at home. You got 3 people with a really solid chance, looking really strong this season with a shot of the title. Here's Douglas Newbegin, and actually going to stop before the line because he did not like that outlap.
He's got 1 lap already recorded.
Oh, he already started a lap. Ooh, that might not work out well for him.
No, it will not.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't just continue with it.
Seth Knowles on track while we're waiting to see what Newbegin will do with just 2.5 minutes remaining here in this qualifying session. Still over a dozen cars have yet to run a lap time as Seth Knowles starts his first lap.
And again, recently he's been on a bit of a hot streak. The number 1 car has been in the number 1 spot more often than not in the last couple of weeks. See if he can repeat that pattern again. Another driver that is locked in, doesn't really have a whole lot to worry about, but he's going to try to perform as much as possible, continue that momentum into the finale in just a short time.
And nobody thought he was going to be one of the favorites. Hunter, he certainly, as Finian mentioned, has kind of popped out from almost nowhere. Won the Area 500, didn't do a whole lot until recently, and now has become a consistent threat up front.
Some drivers just know when to flip the switch and go aggressive when it's the right time, and Seth Knowles done just that, and he'll be chasing the championship next week as qualifies on the pole.
Wow,
I mean,
look at that.
on the money. And that's huge, too, because that's a bonus point for getting pole. So Travis Beckner on the outside looking in needs every point he can. If he's out by 1 point, that could be the difference maker right there.
Oh, Newbegin, big wiggle in turns 3 and 4. He was trying to get some temperature in the tires on his short outlap here. This is going to be his last run. Oh, and he's going to loop it. This is not the start to the night that he needed, guys.
Oh, man. This is really weird qualifying for him, because I saw what he did the first lap. He crossed the line, and then immediately after he crossed the line to take the green flag for lap 1, he jumped on the brake, stopped, and reset. Then we saw him try to reset for a second time, and then this third time the lap didn't click together. So, yeah, like you mentioned, not going to be good for him. Starting for the back, race slate, I think we just saw come across the line. Going to be 9th place.
Well,
and in reference to last week, the events at Las Vegas, Michael Curran saying it wasn't Ricky, but it was his biceps that made him do it. So I don't know if there's any a lack of control over the biceps and how mighty they might be to some. But
just when I thought we had moved on.
Well, I just have a question, though. Where his biceps itching?
Yeah, it might have been hot in there, so he might have itched a little. You never know. But
everything's
I'd like
bigger.
to welcome Eric Wineland into the booth as qualifying is about to wrap up. Eric, what are your thoughts heading into tonight's race? And have you spoken to any drivers yet?
I have not had the chance to check in with anybody yet down here in the lane, but I will tell you, Hunter, I'm very impressed with Seth Knoll. He is just continuing this trend and very well may have just made a pick to win tonight from yours truly if I get the opportunity to snag him.
Oh, we'll get there for sure. But Seth Knoll on pole. Travis Beckner second. Scioli, Horn, Cosman, Yoneshiwu, the rest of your top 5. And Nichols, Sturgill, Nichols, Senesac, and Rafe Slate, the remainder of your top 10. So qualifying is complete. And in just a moment, we'll get our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup underway. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. So 160 laps tonight. Finian, you mentioned aggression and drivers that will be getting desperate to make it in with that one slot remaining. Which of those drivers do you think is going to be in the most dire situation? Obviously, Connor Horn is the furthest back in points, but I also think he's got the best shot of those that are below that cut line to win the race tonight.
It really depends on how this night goes. I think if we see, for a lot of the other competitors, guys like JT Poole, Douglas Newbigging, and Beckner, for them, if Reinhardt has a good race, they're going to really start to get more desperate. If he starts to have a mediocre to a poor race, he gets involved in wreck early on, they're more likely inclined to just kind of sit this out, try to have a decent points finish rather than just trying to go Hail Mary strategy trying to win this race. For Connor Horn, like we said, he doesn't really have much. In a way, it helps him because he doesn't have to worry, he doesn't have to consider trying to, the benefits having good points versus just going out there Hail Mary strat trying to win.
Let's get through rolling with our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup, kicking things off on that front row. A strong qualifying effort for a driver that has been hot as of late. Seth Knoll takes the one to the top. He starts alongside an all-Toyota front row driver. Travis Beckner starts second in the number 28. Below the cut line, needs to perform tonight.
Then moving on back, we find James Scully, who we mentioned again. As long as he takes a green flag tonight, he should be looking pretty heading into the final round. Connor Horn, not so much, is pretty much in a must-win situation, starting off from row number 2.
And row 3, it's Kazumi Onishiwu, not in the playoffs. Jake Nichols locked in. His only goal, to win, to solidify that run into the finale next week.
Moving on back, 7th place by Michael Sturgill in the number 17. Next to him in 8th place, Tyler Nichols in the 41.
And 9th place is Bryce Senesac in the 09. He'll start alongside Rafe Slate. Pair of Chevys starts in row 5.
Row number 6 is going to be Cameron Hearn on the inside in the number 4 and 11th. Next to him, Garrett Grant in the number 5 in 12th place.
In 13th place, it's Ryan Hartz. He's the last driver that is currently in. Needs to play defense tonight, but offense is certainly a lot more fun. He'll start 13th alongside JT Poole, another driver that's on all offense tonight in the 26.
Moving on back to 15th, it's Cedric Hunter in the 07. Next to him, Delonte Ballard in the 21 is going to be rolling off in 16th.
And 17th place, it's Dom DeLeo in the number 22. Jordan Martin starts 18th in the number 11.
Moving on back, 19th is going to be Greg Mitchell in the number 2 machine, while Michael Curran in the 24, rounding out your top 20.
And in 21st place, it's Jeremy Miller in the number 30. Douglas Newbigging, a bad start to his night with a failed qualifying effort. He'll start 22nd with a lot of places to move up tonight.
Skylar Shackelford's going to be rolling off in 23rd in the 88 machine. Next to him, Connor Kresick in the 14 in 24th.
And 25th place, it is Ben Pierce in the number 65. He'll start alongside Ed Robertson in the number 64 in 26th.
We went back to 27. It's going to be Frankie Broso in the 12th car. And rounding out your field at 28, it's going to be Dwayne Culberson in the 81 car.
Cars are rolling off. Let's take our picks. Eric Wineland will let you get yours out of the way before we go racing for 160 laps tonight.
Oh, thank you. I'm picking the pole man. I mean, he's the hottest guy in the Area Cup Series, guys. Seth Knoll is going to take the checkered flag first tonight.
All right, I like that pick. Finian, who you got winning?
I'm really disappointed because I really wanted to pick him. You know what? I'm going to go with Connor Horn. I guess this might be biased because he's also a broadcaster. But again, with his situation, we know he has a lot of speed. I think he's going to definitely take what he will do what it has to take to get into the front. And he's starting pretty good from 4th place.
And Hunter, who you got?
I'm going to go with that colorful scheme on the inside lane in the 3rd row. It's the 3 car of Ryan Hartz. He won here a season ago. Oh, that's not him?
No.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, you had me fooled, Yonishiwu. What a beautiful paint scheme that is, nonetheless. I thought Hartz was digging into his bag for some extra motivation, but my pick is the 3 of Hartz. He won a season ago, so I feel like he'll bring it back to victory lane tonight.
Well, I like all those picks, guys, and especially like Eric Wineland's pick on the front row, but nobody picked Travis Beckner. He knows how to get it done here at Richmond. He's aggressive, and he is backed into a corner tonight. I think the 28 wins. I think he's our final player in the Final Four next week when we head to Homestead. Go ahead.
Hey, Finian.
Yeah?
Pays to qualify up front on pole position. Get the first pick.
Here we go. Time to go racing. 160 laps. If this race goes green from flag to flag, it's under an hour. This is a quick one. This is the final race of this. No, the 28's in the wall already.
Oh, the 3's around in the background.
Oh, this is absolutely pandemonium. The caution is out. Oh, wow. My God. That's all, all I can say.
I thought it would take a little bit longer for the drama to start. It started before the green flag.
Well, that is the ultimate commentator curse, I have to say. And immediately, Travis Beckner's car is absolutely destroyed. before they even got to the start line. And with that, I think his night and his playoff hopes might just be over. Wow. Wow. Let's go back.
Yeah, this is the earliest we've gone to the Simrat Market replay ever.
He just wiggled, guys. Just got it wrong on the start and got hit from behind, and then gets plowed into by Ben Pierce and Frankie Barroso. But watch again. He goes to accelerate, and we're curving onto the D-shaped front straight. Watch the wiggle out of the 28 when he gets on power here. Right there, and just doesn't get going, and just a huge chain reaction behind him. It stacked up everybody.
Yeah, and actually also separate. Ooh, I see two cars come flying into the 28. Ryan Hards, if you can see in the background, he also went for a loop himself independently.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if he missed a gear or went the wrong way on the gears? But
Only thing I can think of, otherwise he probably spun the tires. Those tires are pretty cold, but...
Oh, yeah, he was down in first gear and just went around. He didn't hit anything, so he got away with it, but for the 28, that is a bad mistake. And unfortunately, nobody could miss him. Just too close, too fast. Nobody was expecting that.
Radio guys from Travis Beckner, listen in.
Why does this always happen to me? I was literally 50% throttle, and it just spun.
The 28 is very dejected right now, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame him. Again, he almost caught it, and then he kind of got sideways again. And had the 42 had a little bit more space in front of him, maybe he could have stopped, but he got hit from behind. Watch the stack up here. Rafe Slade into Tyler Nichols into Garrett Grant. There was just a lot more going on.
Yeah.
That's a tough situation.
Even if Connor Horn did stop, he would have probably gotten hit by Jake Nichols, and he would have probably gotten turned around. So there's just no stopping it at that point because everyone was riled and ready to go. But yeah, this is a crazy incident so early on in this race.
I didn't get the opportunity to check in with you guys. Did we ride on board with Bryce Senesac there?
We have not, should we?
I think we should. You should watch what happens to the 41 right in front of Bryce Senesac.
Well, let's go back and do that again. Give me a moment to collect him here. Here's the initial start.
Whoa! Ooh-wee.
Oh, and Cameron Hearn went around after all that, too. But just
lost in the chaos there.
Well, I hate it for Travis Beckner. I hate it even more for my my announcer pick points because that went down the hill real fast. And I think Beckner's hopes are completely over at this stage, 2 laps down, and I don't think that car is repairable. So with that out of the way, let's try this again. 156 laps to go. Here we go from Richmond. Green flag in the air this time. A little bit tidier of a start. We're underway finally from Richmond.
So there's an interesting thing. The session is still under yellow.
So I noticed that as well. My flags did not.
Yeah.
There's the green. So that was odd. And I imagine
now we're green.
The
drivers were kind of confused through that.
Yeah. So when we went back green, my flags, some might have noticed, did not wave the green, and everyone restarted. So that was very strange. But here comes Connor Horn for the lead. I'm surprised we didn't go back yellow, just in the confusion of all that. And well, never mind.
I would say Connor Horn did not stop. He did not stop at all. He's trying to get everything he can, regardless of whether it's a green flag, a yellow flag, red flag, blue flag. It don't matter. He's going to try and get to them.
What was the yellow for? Oh, the 64.
Oh.
So that was. So here's all this confusion.
He just.
And then just loops it. Yeah, very weird. If we go back to the restart here, so there's the pace car. We're clearly doubled up. The pace car peels off. And the yellow does not get extended here. It just didn't go green.
That's a first. I've never seen that before. I think we need a new flagman. He wanted to take charge of this race. He wanted to make it about himself. We're not even 10 laps into this.
So just a note from race control. Race control telling drivers to line up where they should be.
Well, everyone wants to be first, right?
Yeah, so...
I should be leading. Wow, what a weird start to the night.
I believe they're trying to line up to where they should have been on the restart. Is what I'm understanding from race control.
So they threw the yellow Finian to reset the field because they had, on top of, I guess, the glitch we had just seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before, like you guys. Black flags were all sorts of haywire there because of the restart incidents that were taking place. So they were getting them cleared for some people that picked up stuff they should not have.
Yeah.
And it looks like the field is finally set. I wanted to touch on Hunter's point. I know you want to get rid of Barney the Flagman. I think he's awesome. But I also fully believe, have you ever seen those like golf ball things they put on actors to track motion?
Oh,
like animation.
Yeah. Motion traction, yeah.
They should put that on Aaron Likens, who is the IndyCar flagman. Have you ever seen this guy wave a double checkered flag?
That man knows how to wave a flag.
If you have not, follow him on Twitter because his content's good too.
I didn't know that he had a Twitter. I'll have to look him up. But Finian and I discovered, I know you guys probably don't road race, or not so much in the road racing world, all the new tracks actually have a different flag waving animation that is a lot more in line with what you'd expect to see. But none of the ovals have that yet. So it's a completely different animation that looks a lot more natural. But it hasn't made its way to where it probably should be the most. So interesting.
I've been hearing rumblings about an oval refresh.
So one of the things I was going to mention was I've seen something similar to this happen before. If the leader passes the pace car while the pace car is in pit lane, the yellow will be extended. But that did not happen. When the yellow extends, it is essentially rethrown for a lap, which means that the yellow flag would wave again at the flag stand and the yellow lights would come back on, but that didn't happen. We went to 1 to green and then we stayed in 1 to green for an extra lap without the pace car. So that's not an issue I've seen before. I also wonder, is that just a one-time thing, or do you guys think we might see it again here?
Well, we're about to find out. I can tell you that. We're about to find out. I'm curious if it might be a situation where they just need to kind of let the pace car go a little bit more in front, or if that was just kind of a weird quirk. Just timing.
I think because the yellow had come out on technically lap 0 for most drivers.
That's probably it.
There's all sorts of wonkiness that happens. There was a lot of guys trying to get the wave around right before the green there.
Yeah.
So
I think you're exactly right, Eric. I think it was the yellow on lap 0 that threw the caution logic off. So that makes a lot of sense. And that means that we should get a nice clean restart this time without any funny business or shenanigans. Let's try this again. Third time's the charm. Lap number 12 of 160. Seth Knoll still in command. There's the green flag, and we're back underway. Good launch so far. We leave the back straightaway. Everybody under power this time and a lot less confusion. There is definitely some tight racing here mid-pack and beyond, but up front, Seth Knoll trying to run away. Connor Horn has Scioli all over his gearbox here.
Yeah, finally some racing under our hands as Connor Horn, as you mentioned, trying to hold off Scioli, trying to get near his back bumper. We saw Connor Horn try to make a move on Seth Knoll.
Slide!
Some sliding happens in the background, and there he goes. Is that Dom DeLeo? I think it is, and into the wall. And the caution will fly again.
Boy, oh boy. It has to be a full moon tonight. These guys are.
It's actually not. It's almost a new moon.
Well, it's opposite
I checked.
day. Let's go back and see what happened here to the 22. We saw him sideways in the middle of the 2. So he's going to get contact there from Newbigging right there. Sends him up the hill, and then the 11 of Jordan Martin just tags him, and he almost had it saved. Look at Cameron Hearn dodging out of the way. A little bit of contact there for the 22, but shouldn't be anything major, but just got a little bit wrong, and it carried away after the contact from the 71.
I feel like some of these guys had too many cups of Roasted Gems coffee. I know it's good, but you can't consume the whole box in one night.
Well,
it's not good.
So far, I have instantly jinxed everything tonight because I picked the 28 to win. He crashed on lap 0. I also said this race, if it went green from flag to flag, would be under an hour, and clearly we're not trending that direction already. So I need to shut up and stop talking sometimes, but some nights are better than others, boys.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not sure it's just like with the track or what's going on. It's kind of weird shenanigans, and I guess also iRacing, just kind of doing its thing and kind of glitching out a little bit. But we'll see. It also just looks like this track is really slick. I mean, because we saw on the restart, obviously with drivers losing traction, causing that initial wreck, and then just now with Dom DeLeo, barely any laps into the run, and he also lost some traction off the corner and spun out. So I'm curious if that's something these guys are definitely going to have to really consider going forward, is that they need to really watch and monitor their cars, because if they push just a little bit too much, they can easily go around and end their night early.
I'm interested in if we get a green flag run. Big if we do. How the fall off is going to be for some of these guys, because we've only seen short runs, and on these restarts, that leader, Seth Knoll, he can just go from anywhere in the box. So it seems like if you're going to be the leader, it's going to be pay a big dividend towards the end of this. But Connor Horn doing all he can. Don't know if he's going to burn up the tires too soon. I don't know if it'd be better to conserve them. But with the short runs that we have, I don't know if that's going to be an option.
Well, we're going to get another restart here, probably lap 18 or so. We'll see if we get the one to green this time through. Flag in the air, and I'm forgetting that Richmond is one of the places that we get that extra yellow flag lap, as opposed to some of the newer tracks that have one lap less. And so the field works their way around turns 1 and 2 once again. So Seth Knoll leading some laps here early. Connor Horn, short run pace, Finian, so far doesn't look amazing, but we haven't had that many laps to really see what the 42's got. Certainly has qualifying pace. We saw that in qualifying.
Yeah, I was going to say he's doing really good. And actually, as they're running right now, Connor Horn's only 11 points back from the cutoff, with but that's also with, again, Ryan being stuck a little bit back in traffic and Connor doing pretty well. So I'm curious to see if Connor is actually even going to bother to try to see if he can lead a lap or try to fight with Seth for most laps led, or just going to keep the bigger goal in mind and just trying to get the W from him.
Ryan Hartz as well, as we get the one to go. He's 18th after that spin, which could be a lot worse, but slowly been working his way, trying to get back to where he started from. But we'll see if the longer run will help the 3 out.
So he will restart again on the outside of that 9th row. Getting temperature and grip into the tires has been a challenge so far. I think these guys get 5-10 laps under their belts and the tires will kind of settle in, but it does seem a little skatey on the initial lap after a restart or so. Pace car's off. Let's try it again. Maybe 4 times the charm here at Richmond. Get us underway here in this penultimate race of the season. Green flag back in the air. Nice launch from the 1. Good launch from the 42 as well.
Connor Horn trying to clear. Oh, and Connor Horn, I think, he's saying he's got a black flag. And I think for passing the leader on the restart, and the admins are looking to see if that was earned or not.
Oh, spin, not a turn 4. Crash again. The 24's in it. Curhan and Ryan Hartz is in it as well.
Goodness gracious, guys. This is
there's big damage on the front of that car, guys. Big damage.
I don't think that right front is rotating at all.
That's big news for a driver that needs a decent night. Let's go back and have a look. And the first car I saw sideways was the 20, is that the 26 at Poole?
Yeah, next to, I believe, Garrett Grant.
Oh, that 3 got hammered.
Yeah, that's solid impact, and this is exactly what Ryan did not need.
Oh, Garrett Grant gets loose here. Poole drives into him, gets turned around, and then 41 gets into it. The 24 gets into the 07, and then Hartz just gets sandwiched. And that is going to be a big deal. And the fender just fell off that car, actually. But you see that left front is pushed out of position.
That's a big thing. You got hit on the wheels. That's the really worst part, especially with these next-gen cars, is they're strong everywhere else except the wheels. If you get damage there, they're going to be in for extensive repairs. And even Travis Beckner, he was actually benefiting a lot from a lot of these cautions. You can see, wow, the right front's even just locked on. It's not even moving. That's really not a good sign. Beckner's been benefiting from all the cautions, being able to fix his car up. But for Ryan, he's definitely going to be sitting there for quite a while. And well, his misfortune is going to be the fortune to everyone else in behind him, trying to get that final playoff spot, because this 3 is probably going to go a couple laps down with the repairs.
Through the history of Richmond, the races have been an hour, 7 minutes, so I don't think we're going to reach that. Also, we've had an average of 1 caution at Richmond, so we've already quadrupled that. But interesting note, the last caution, average lap of last caution, 139 to go. We're right around that mark, so fingers crossed that we can go green for a long period of time.
We're going to step away for just a moment. We got a new endurance series joining us here this fall. Here's a glimpse at the MTech Endurance Series that starts in October here on SimTV. Back live for the Area Cup Series here from Richmond, the penultimate race of the season. It's been a troublesome one so far. Many playoff competitors already with big damage and big problems. Eric Weiland's got some radio from the last incident.
Guys, listen in. JT Poole, Rafe Slate, and Ryan Hart's discussing what happened.
Garrett Grant did?
Yeah,
Behind
dude.
me.
Yeah, he tail whipped my.
Ryan, are you okay?
I'm destroyed, dude.
So not a good night in the Solid Rock stable. JT Poole, victim to Garrett Grant getting loose, and then Ryan Hart's caught up in the aftermath.
Yeah, big issues for the 28 and for the 3. The 28's 5 laps down, and he really did not need that. He was essentially with Connor Horn in the really needed to win camp, and Ryan Hart's, all that lead advantage he had is gone. We're back underway. Lap 26 here from Richmond. And the playoff picture continues to mold throughout the night.
Yeah, it's going to continue to change with every single lap, especially with how much things are changing. We're back green, and an update too on Connor Horn. That penalty got black flag got taken away, so he's good to go. Doesn't have anything to worry about here. As a single file out for the first couple spots further back. Douglas Newbigging in the thick of things again with so many people striking out. He's got to be careful, and he's actually looking 3 wide to the inside of Jeremy Miller heading off into turn 1, and Miller cuts him off.
You got to make those aggressive moves when you're far below in the cutoff, and especially after what happened to Hartz, this could be an opportunity for Newbigging to point his way into the championship 4, running 13th at the moment, but a steady climb for the 71.
And he's probably going to be the one that gets pretty desperate, guys. I mean, he's in a position where he can point his way in, absolutely, but we've already seen him tonight make some contact, and he's not running naturally as good as the 42 is, so his direct competition is this green and yellow car up front who's battling for the lead. He's to the quarter panel of the 1, and I don't think he's going to wait around, especially with the 73 pressuring.
No, he's definitely not. I think he realizes he needs to go now, and there he goes to the inside. Seth Noel giving him the spot. And There goes the 42 to the lead up, but here comes Noel trying to fire back over under to the inside. He will look. We're going to try to defend on that outside to see if he can keep that run going out of 4.
42 holding it high. He's going to clear the one of Noel off turn 4, but here comes Jake Nichols now trying to throw his head into the mix. The 2 drivers locked into the postseason, the Cup finale. They're wanting to make sure the 42 is eliminated because say he wins tonight and he wins next week, he could be a serious threat for this championship here. As we look a little further back here, the 09 is Senesek, the 07 of Cedric Hunter battling for the top 10.
Yeah, Newbeginn's right in the middle of this as well. There's just to his outside now, the 30 of Jeremy Miller. This is just outside the top 10. Ooh, that's really tight there between the 30 and the 07. And JT Poole watching on from behind. JT, another one of those drivers on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I was going to say, Miller's been running aggressively, but it's been working. He's moved up 10 spots since the green flag. Trying to work his way up. Ooh, Garrett Grando has just got into race slate coming off the corner, and we already saw that team not too happy with the number 5, so I wonder if this is kind of boiling over into this. 8 racing the 5 aggressively here in 3. Looks like it's sorted out for now.
7th and 8th spot going to battle there as Cedric
spun
Hunter
behind
now.
him.
Whoa,
The
spin!
88 turned around, and he's going to slide back across traffic and going to get clobbered by Ben Pierce. Caution again, lap 33. And that 88 is not going to roll. I think that rear axle is torn up, and yep, that'll be the end of the night for the 88. It has been dramatic. We knew that coming in. It was going to get a little spicy. Here's a look at it. Gets into the wall, bounces off the wall into the 2, and then did not get it locked down in time, and Ben Pierce just had nowhere to go.
I mean, you look like you try to have it locked down. The front wheels are locked. Oh. Fortunately, just came back up into the line.
I think Ben probably thought he was going to be in good shape with the 88 spinning down there, but it just kind of took the wrong trajectory. He was immediately on the brakes as soon as he saw the 88 sliding back up, but it just was not enough time to stop one of these cars. And pit stops are underway here. We got a little bit of a split strategy.
Yeah, I was going to say, for some people, not everyone.
Yeah. Seth Knowles on pit lane. He's probably the highest running notable driver. Horn and Nichols stay out.
Ooh, this is interesting. Hang on, let me just double check something real quick before I open my mouth. All right, actually, so as they run, I'm pretty sure. Oh, Eric, you're back with us. Is the document up to date?
The document is up to date before the yellow came out, so still need to get some changes there. But I did want to point out they are good to the end on fuel from here, guys. I don't expect to see much in the way of people trying to make this strategy work because tires are so important here on the worn out surface of Richmond Raceway, but they technically can make it from here. So the guys that did just come down pit road, I'm looking at Seth, Cosman, Yonishibu, Ed Robertson, Douglas Newbegin, Cameron Hearn, Rafe Slate, just to name a few there, that had just come down pit road this time. They don't need to add fuel for the rest of the race.
Interesting. So in a position now where they can just run to the end from here, but is that something that you'd want to do? I feel like you want give yourself a little bit more options as far as strategy goes, tires and things, but maybe not.
I like your idea there, Kyle. I would want more. If anything, this does open up the fact that they don't have to add fuel, so the stops can be a little bit quicker. But at the same token, I have not driven a much of the Cup car. Maybe someone like Hunter or someone else could speak more to this. You want the diffuser on the ground, right? That's more downforce, so you probably want more fuel in the rear to help push the back of the car down. At least that's what logic would make me think.
The rapper?
Nice.
I mean, these amazing artists do wrap the rear of the cars. Got some awesome paint schemes out here tonight, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say. And speaking of which, it's for Q.
Sorry, I'm doing something in the background. What's happening?
Simrat Market is a great place to shop for paints.
I'm multitasking.
I got you.
Hey, there you go.
We've already seen this about a dozen times or so, but Simrat Market is the replay sponsor, so race fans, be sure to visit simratmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use, help you stay more focused on the racetrack. As now we're going to go back green. The multitasking will be to the drivers now.
Thanks. We're making things happen behind the scenes here, boys.
Gideon, I appreciate the segue.
It would have been so perfect.
Well, all right, guys. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. We're racing again from Richmond. Championships on the line, and Connor Horn off to a nice start. Jake Nichols on the outside. It's 2x2x2 off into the first corner. And something tells me we're gearing up for a little bit more drama with how frantic these restarts have felt.
Yeah, especially with everyone so close together, right, and everyone trying to go for every position, because they know that these restarts are the best chances to gain position. So they're running aggressively on these restarts. So we're seeing a lot of things happen in the back. I'm looking up ahead. Garrett Grant was trying to make it down to the inside of Delonte Ballard, who's having a really good race, and almost 3-4 wide coming off of turn 2. That's not going to work.
That's a tough spot to be in if you're on that outside, but you got the tires to do so. Seth Knoll leading the charge there. He's trying to work his way now past Cosme Yonishiwu for the 13th spot.
And kind of got himself out of that sticky situation for at least the time being. Still some side-by-side ahead of him that could turn gnarly any moment. Garrett Grant to the inside of Jeremy Miller. And Cedric Hunter to the inside of JT Poole for 9th. All the while, Connor Horn leads the way, but not by much over Jake Nichols. And this is going to be... Go ahead.
I was going to say, we saw on the previous restarts, 73 hounding the back of the 42 when they were in behind Seth Knoll. Now they're breaking away, a little bit of a gap between them, but Nichols not giving up. He might want a chance at this lead and just try to push that 42 out as you look further back. Douglas Newbing in the thick of everything, just trying to see if he can work his way on through as well. Seth Knoll right up ahead.
Oh, 3 wide right in front of them. Greg Mitchell, I thought about making it 3 wide. Seems like someone backed out of it, but now door-to-door with the 07 to Cedric Hunter there for the 10th spot. A little further back, Seth Knoll just in front of the 71 of Doug Newbigging. They're side-by-side in the middle, 3 and 4.
Yeah, the one's kind of in the middle of everything right now, but he can afford to do this. He's locked in, doesn't have to worry about anything, and he's free to play the strategy, free to get caught up in an incident, whatever he wants, really, because he's got that advantage, right? So this is not a strategy that Connor Horn could play. You don't want to get yourself stuck back in traffic and get yourself in the area for a potential disaster. You need that track position. You need to play a conservative approach tonight, and that's what Horn's doing. But Seth Knoll has the freedom to fail here.
Yeah, I was going to say, and really for what these guys are racing, whoa, is Cameron Hearn works around the outside. He's going to go sliding up into the wall in turns 1 and 2. He actually keeps it going in the right direction, so no caution will fly, but wow, that could have been very close. And this is, again, talking about that handling issues a lot of people have been struggling with.
We'll see if it gets better or worse for the 4, as Yonishiwu now looks below the 07 to Cedric Hunter for that 11th spot. Got the 1 of Knoll right behind him as well, breathing down the neck of the 84. Right on board with him heading into 3.
Great perspective here to see different lines giving you some different advantages. Seth Knoll turning down to the bottom on corner exit. But Cedric Hunter showing that outside lane's got some pace if you can hang on to it. It's been a more viable line in recent years than it has been in the past. But look at the rotation. Oh, no! Yonishiwu gets turned.
Whoa!
In front of the field and more trouble.
Rafe Slate just pounded the inside while trying to avoid the crash.
Wow. Another big crash here at Richmond. Here's the 8, because this wasn't on screen, but you see those two get tangled, and the 8 just lost it on his own and then caught the end of that opening. That was a big hit. Yeah, watch the 84 and the 07. They come up off the corner here and just right there. Then Rafe didn't, he just kind of lost it. He caught that concrete opening, and that just destroyed the front end of the 8.
Yeah, he turned hard left trying to avoid it, then overcorrected and unfortunately couldn't save it. So into the wall he went. So his car is going to be pretty much destroyed. And this is actually great news for Ryan Hartz because he's back out on the track, guys. He's 15 laps down, very much out of it. But as they run, he can try to make up as many places as possible. He's already passed Skylar Shackelford. And depending if Ray Slate gets back out on track or not, that could be another spot for him. And it's going to be pretty close because, I mean, as they run right now with Connor Horn in the lead, if he wins it, it's not going to matter. But if Connor doesn't win this race, pretty much going to be between Poole, Hartz, and potentially Newbigging if he can step it up in the points for that final spot.
He only needs about 22 cautions to get back on the lead lap, and at this rate, it might actually work out in the end for Ryan Hartz.
Well, I was just going to say at the rate we're going with how many cars we're destroying, that Hartz can just pick them up that way. But I mean, he could definitely try to get the lucky dog that many times and free passes to get back on.
Quick math, that would have to be an average of 5 laps with a caution. Caution every 5 laps.
Oh boy.
Well, let's not do that. But again, the drama's been high tonight. The crashes have not been little. Finney, you mentioned at the top of the show that these cars are tanks, and they are indeed. But the places that drivers have been crashing tonight, especially on the inside of the front stretch and back stretch, those walls are concrete and they hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Just
going to
ask
say.
Rafe Slate.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it really depends also to where these guys are getting hit as well. We've seen many hits directly to the wheels of these cars. That's pretty much going to take you out of it. I mean, you can ask Ryan Hart, he was in the pits for 9 minutes getting repairs, and that's all required. Like, you don't even know how many optional he has, but these guys are going to be sitting in the pits for a while, otherwise trying to get those things repaired. If not, they're just going to have to call it a night.
I've got some insight there for you, Finian.
Yeah.
Let's just say Ryan Hartz is not counting the number of cautions, but Travis Spector is. So how many more he needs to get back on the lead lap?
Oh, interesting.
After that yellow, I happened to be listening in on Miller Racing, and I do not have the rest of the audio because there were some choice words in amongst all the radios I was hopping through. But Travis was definitely counting down. He said 4 more. He needs 4 more to get himself back on the lead lap.
Interesting.
Barring no one else goes a lap down as well.
So still some things at play, and what I was working on in the background. There we are.
Oh, okay. I heard you clicking away.
So just for reference, Connor Horn, while he's leading, has this advantage that locks him in and shifts that cut line down. But as soon as he's not leading, things look very different. We'll have to keep our eyes on this all night tonight.
There's a method to the madness of Kyle Heyer.
Y'all can handle an ad read now and then.
Yeah.
And you're asking at home, or you're not, but I'm going to pretend that you're asking, why didn't he do this before the broadcast? Well, because I was reassembling my living room and my computer because I needed it to be more feng shui. So that was what took priority. Anyway, green flag back in the air, lap 53. Connor Horn lights him up. Oh, Seth Knowles shoots for the middle.
Oh, boy, that was almost catastrophe.
Holy cow.
You're telling me that was dangerous, and you saw right there that was Jeremy Miller, 42's teammate there, being rear gunner, trying to avoid any incidents and prevent the one from getting back to the front there. But now Greg Mitchell's on the inside of the 30 trying to work his way around to secure that second spot. And with the run off the corner, looks like he'll be able to do so. Not quite. Greg Mitchell's still there.
Mitchell's been caught up in a couple of crashes tonight, so it's an interesting look at the two as he's trying to hold on to second now from Jeremy Miller on the outside, but now the one of Knoll has virtually nowhere to go unless he gives momentum to one another. Meanwhile, Michael Curran, he was a lap down at one point. He's back inside the top 5, trying to stay in it with Jake Nichols to his inside.
Yeah, he was involved in a crash earlier as well, turned around sideways, so he's actually on a nice recovery. Bryce Senesac on the outside of this battle here. Douglas Newbigging, he's been just clipping away, trying to gain spots. He just hasn't gone anywhere. And especially with Connor Horn leading this race, his opportunities to advance are nil.
Yeah, and speaking of which, Connor Horn is starting to break away now with all that battling we saw down the order. Greg Mitchell now in second, Miller in third, with Knoll in fourth, trying to get around the 30. Jake Nichols sitting in 5th, your top 5, mostly single file. As far as the playoff drivers near the back, JT Woolmeyer in traffic in 12th, and he's got a battle just up ahead of him. Douglas Newbigin in 14th. And then we got Travis Beckner and Reinhardt still with damage trying to work their way up the order.
Yeah, good battles throughout the rest of the field here as we flip away. And again, this race can accelerate so quickly. Let's consider again, at the initial drop of the green flag, this race would have taken under an hour with no yellows. If we go green to the end from here, there's only 38 minutes of racing left. It's not a lot of time. It can go so fast.
And big thing to mention too is that Connor Horn and Jeremy Miller, they're yet to pit. Everyone else has come down pit lane. Quite a few guys came down in this last caution. Those two are the only ones that have not come down to pit road at all this race.
But you see how it hasn't hurt him? I don't know that it's necessary to come down until later. So I think everyone will take another opportunity to pit in the next 30 or 40 laps if we were to get a yellow, but it doesn't seem like it's hurting him all that bad. Obviously, he needs fuel, but the tire wear is not that significant.
I think that's the more concerning thing, is that if he doesn't have enough fuel and everyone else does, that's going to be really the big red flag for him. But at the moment, I think he's going to just kind of hope and pray that there's going to be a caution later on. And I mean, from the trends of the race, kind of looks like it's heading that way here as you see Cosmic Shibu and the 4 of Cameron Hearn duke it out. They're fighting for 15th place.
Ooh, and Senesek looked like he was going to duck low just in front of them underneath the 41 of Tyler Nichols. That's 13th and 14th, but right now battle for 15th is going to subside, and Hearn is going to hold on to that. Single file throughout most of the field.
Clicking away laps, 100 laps to go. Connor Horn leads. Greg Mitchell, Jeremy Miller, Jake Nichols, Seth Knoll, your top 5, and once again, your live point scenario. With Connor Horn leading, it's not all that tight.
No, it really isn't. with him locking up that spot. And you can see right there on screen too, Jake Nichols is getting past Jeremy Miller. So a lot of the guys with fresher tires now catching back up to that 42 slowly but surely. And I think you can bet that next caution, that 42 is probably going to be on pit lane to make up spots. But yeah, you can see the rest of the battle not entirely close. I mean, the guys below the cutoff line are pretty close. So again, if Connor Horn doesn't make it, Pool Hearts and Newbigging are in a close battle.
Newbigging. Big slide. Hunter, you saw it.
Yeah, he had a moment there coming out of 2 underneath the 26 of JT Pool, fighting for position. This is just for the 11th spot, just outside the top 10. And as they sit, it'll be close if Connor Horn isn't in the picture. If he loses that lead, it could come down to JT Pool, Doug Newbigging. Ryan Hartz is still in the mix for this, but that's only if the 42 is not leading. But they're still keeping the pressure on one another for the time being.
And Connor Horn has been leading. 64 laps completed. He's led 36 of them. So, yeah, he has been out front. But I don't know that we've really seen the race naturally come this way. Had a lot of yellows, a lot of restarts and things. And, of course, Connor has not yet pitted, which is kind of the elephant in the room here up front.
And behind them, Jake Nichols just got past Greg Mitchell. So 73 back up to 2nd place. Mitchell relegated down to 3rd. So Nichols now going to be on the attack. And I think that this rate might be the 73. As soon as he catches back up, now he's got the tire advantage. I have an easier time getting around the 42. Looking further down, Michael Curran in a tight battle with Michael Sturgill. Sturgill on the inside, Curran on the outside.
Yeah, he pitted 30 laps ago, and the cars that are to his inside now are those that just recently came down pit road, so they're looking to put their fresh tires to good use, just like the 73 of Jake Nichols is. As mentioned, Connor Horn is yet to pit. Jake Nichols was amongst those that did come down and pit under that most recent yellow, and he is currently closing in on the 42 on this bumper going into turn 1.
Bill side by each into the first corner. And up front, it is going to get more interesting here. For Connor Horn, this strategy doesn't work if he doesn't win. That's the risky thing about it. He knew coming in he'd have to win. Oh, big bobble there.
That makes your hair stand on end. Here comes the 73 looking to the inside, trying to get a play on by. Can't quite get there.
How much defense do you play, Hunter?
When you need a win, if it's just win or nothing, you have to do everything that you can in the book. Although we are closing in on halfway, There's still plenty of laps left in this race for the 42, even if he loses it right here. Going into turn 1, he could still rebound, but the 73 is not going to make that easy as they head off turn 2, door to door.
Little slip there from the 73, but got decent drive off.
And I can see the 42 pinching him down. Again, for Connor, really, I think he's trying to lead as many laps as possible, just kind of as a backup plan. If he doesn't win, at least get as many bonus points as possible. So that's really what he's fighting for at the moment, because again, the 73 and the 42 pit strategy-wise are a completely different strategy. That's why the 73 has an advantage this run. 50-lap fresher tires.
That is the difference maker right now, although Horn with his 71-lap old tires make it 72 across the stripe. Putting up a good fight with the 73 of Jake Nichols, but I don't know how much longer that's going to be as they roll through turn 2. And the run is going to clear Nichols from the 42 of Horn.
Yeah, no love lost between these two either. They've had their run-ins this season. But Nichols will take the lead, and with that, it will shift Connor Horn out of a transfer spot. Needed that leading position to be counted as advancing. Of course, that one wouldn't be done until the checkered flag flies. And just to show you how critical that is, here's how much that shifts. JT Poole would be in by 1 point.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy how this all plays out. And Connor Horn entered, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but he's only 5 out. And he entered tonight 27 points out.
Yeah, well, by virtue of Ryan Hart's having a pretty terrible night, he's still 15 laps down running, but 15 laps down. Ryan lost that basically all of that 11-point advantage.
And also an update too, that point is those points are without points for most laps led. So if he had that, so if Connor takes that point, it's 4 now, the gap, 4 points back.
That's how fragile it is. And here comes the 17, having a look at Seth Knoll. That was a big dive. And Dom DeLeo is on, well, I thought he was on pit lane, but turns out he was just turned around.
No, he had some help. Heading off into turn 1, looking behind, Cosmin Onishiu comes in, gives him a bump. 22 went sideways, and yeah, it looks like he was just exiting pit lane.
Did a good job gathering it up and not making that worse. Jeremy Miller is a cork in the bottle right now for 4th place. He's got Knoll and Sturgill behind him, pounding him down, and just got in the wall a little bit out of 4 as well.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't be too surprised if he's kind of acting like the sacrificial lamb, just trying to keep everyone off of the 42, kind of string them out to make sure that when they get to them, you know, they use up their tires and have a less likely chance of getting past him. What I really am curious is when the 42 is going to come down to pit lane.
Well, let's head down to let's head down to our own lamb in the pit lane. Eric Weiland with an update. What you got for us?
Ouch! I'd work a little harder than that. No, Connor Horn, you know, if you split this evenly, because he has not stopped yet in this race, would be lap 80. But with all that yellow running, especially early on, I expect him to extend it a little bit longer. Right now, currently, the leader, Jake Nichols, is on 30-lap tires. Most of the field the same as Jake. There's a couple guys mixed in here on slightly older as well, but nobody younger than that. So with 30 laps and 80 laps to go coming up, call that 110. I would expect the Nichols and other company to split it down the middle at 55 to go. I think Connor may try to get aggressive and push that maybe to 70 to go. He's good for a while on fuel, but the tires are going to be screaming here before too long.
Yeah, having a look at Connor's last lap. It's not too bad, but this is probably one of those places where the tire wear and how much it slows you down is way less than it feels like, I'm sure. The tires are going to feel a lot worse than they're actually getting. So Connor's last lap at 23.159, and it was only about 0.2 off of Jake Nichols, but I can tell you just by looking at the car, it's not driving very good.
No, you can see the car bobbling a lot on the exit of the corner when he gets back onto the power. Meanwhile, the rest of his competitors, it looks a lot smoother getting back on. So that's really the big thing he's got to consider is the drivability of the car. You don't want to be pushing it too forward to the point where you're almost spinning out, trying to push to get those lap times down as much as possible. See a bit of an accordion here. Zolan behind the 30 as he hits a little bit loose off of turn 2. Seth Knoll, Michael Sturgill, James Scully on this big pile.
We are on the short track, and even though the one is moving on to the next round of the postseason, he might get a little anxious here and start to use that front bumper as it gets closer and closer to Jeremy Miller.
How long are you willing to ride behind here? Ooh, little wiggle there. Using up your tire just to try to get by a driver that's not really in it for anything. He's very much entitled to be on the racetrack and be racing, but it's hard for a driver that's in the playoffs to justify that in their mind. So I think their goals are very different right now on the racetrack.
Oh, 100% here as they work their way through out of turn 2 now. Ooh, Sturgill with the switchback, trying to look to the inside of Seth. No, gives up on that. James Scully closes back in. All you need is one driver to make a mistake here, and that could potentially take out a couple.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're the one of Noel and you don't get aggressive, then the guy behind you is going to start to get anxious and maybe get aggressive himself, and that's what we're seeing now. The 17 of Sturgill, because if he doesn't push an envelope, then the car behind him might push an envelope in James Scioli.
Lap 85 of 160, clicking him away. A race that began with a whole bunch of yellows. It has gone green for a little while now. Jake Nichols well locked in, cruising away. Connor Horn in need of a win. And I think this is dangerous that this race is going this green for this long for Connor Horn. If this race goes green to the end, he has to have better pace than Jake Nichols. That's a really tall task. I think he'd much rather play the restart game and try to just outdrive him on those 2 or 3 lap runs.
And so this is the big thing too, is that for Connor Horn, I'm also curious too. Are the other drivers going to come back down to pit lane, or because I think some guys should be good on fuel. So I think if they can avoid to, they don't want to come back down to pit lane. So that's going to be the big question. So if that's the case, if Connor's the only one that has to pit, does he risk just trying to run out there, just run the tires out as much as possible until the fuel runs out? Hope for a caution as you see the 1 and the 17 banging doors off of turn 2.
Oh boy.
And down the back straightaway. This is getting aggressive.
Yeah, so the 17 kind of got run up into the wall a little bit in turn 4 the last time around. Didn't appreciate it. Dove on the 1 into turn 1. They made contact, and now they're both mad at each other. That's typical, as Denny Hamlin would call it, short track racing. But I don't think these drivers agree on it for sure.
Yeah, up ahead of them, it's getting dicey. The 30 and the 2 are also battling for position.
Wow,
There's
you
an
see,
aggressive
look out!
cut, and there he goes. There's the nose. Seth Knoll diving to the inside of 17, pushing him up the track, pushing him out of line, so he can have a go. And see up ahead, 30 getting ahead of the 2 as this battle continues. And here we go, 3 wide. Scully to the inside. This can get ugly. Some contact, a little bit of more contact in the middle of the corner.
That's not what Noel needed. Sorry, Hunter.
If there's going to be yellow, it's going to be right here. And in the midst of all this, Jeremy Miller's actually moved up a spot. He's past the 2 of Greg Mitchell now. So the 30 sits in the podium spot. Meanwhile, Noel's going to lose another spot to the 7 of Scioli. So they head down the front stretch, but right behind them, closing in on the mix, the 5 of Grant, the 24 of Kern, and the 4 of Cameron Hearn.
I'll tell you, that 1 is hot right now. He's locked in. He can afford to play a little game, but you have to wonder if it's going to carry over into next week, when you really need to have everyone be your best friend. And right now, no best friends being created at Richmond Raceway.
It's a little loose coming out the corner. Yeah, the thing is, do you really want to make someone angry? Because you never know, right? Because if you say you were to wreck Sturgill this week and there's no penalty or anything going next week. Say it comes down to him having to pass Sturgill for the win. Do you really think that Sturgill will want him to win the championship? I don't think so. So you don't want to make too many enemies, especially because you never know. Race car drivers have very long memories, and it's the final race is only next week. So you don't want to make everyone too angry. As Sturgill looks to the inside of Mitchell now, who's starting to fall back on his tires. It seems he's pushed a little too hard. So there goes the 2 out of lane. The 17 a little bit loose to the inside, and James Scully licking his chops, trying to see if he can get past both of them.
Well, unless the 1 of Noel pushes the envelope with him and gets a little aggressive as they work their way down the front stretch. We head down the pit road once again for an update from Eric Weiland. What you got for us?
You guys listen in to Michael Sturgill commenting on what happened.
Well, I mean, he wants to run me like all the time, so don't run me into the wall and expect not to get run back into the wall. We got loose.
Michael Sturgill not happy with the 1 car of Seth Knoll.
Well, they say an eye for an eye, and I think there's a handful of drivers in the field that are going to need glasses after this, at the very least. Stabbing each other in the eyeballs, but Here comes Scioli down to the inside of Greg Mitchell, who's slipping backwards. I'll tell you what, though, the 17, for as hot as he is, it's translating into long run speed. He's one of the quickest drivers in the top 5 right now, only surpassed by Connor Horn and Jake Nichols. And we have to give Connor credit. He has 96 laps on this stint and still running second on pace alone. That's really impressive. And last time by, he was faster than Jake Nichols. That's impressive.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's actually managed his starts a lot better than I thought. I thought it was going to be continuously him dropping back, but he's managed them pretty well. He's found a decent spot. Granted, he is 2.5 seconds behind, so he needs to try to get back up to the 73. But, with him having to come down to pit lane, could be potentially opportunistic if he can come down at the right time, get ahead of the 73. And I hear on the radio the number 3, Jeremy Miller, coming down to pit lane.
Well, this is going to be an interesting look at green flag pit stops, especially with how slim the banking is and where the pit entrance is. So that went smoothly for the 30. Meanwhile, Seven Scioli moves into the podium spot, and the guys behind him each move up a spot, but tensions are getting hotter between the 2 and the 4. A little back here. JT Poole, Doug Newbigin, a couple of playoff drivers who need solid runs tonight. They are, whoa, there was the 41 of Tyler Nichols pulling all the way down there.
Delonte Ballard in the teal car tonight. Connor Horn, pit lane, guys.
Here he comes down. Now for Connor, the big thing he's got to hope for is there's just no immediate caution. He wants to go green to at least get some sort of benefit on fresh tires. So now Jake Nichols and everyone else though out there going to wonder now how much quicker is that number 42.
Eric Wineland.
Guys, this is 5 laps before I expected the guys that did take tires to potentially stop. I wouldn't be surprised to see some people pull a Ty Majeski strat and run it out on the fuel, but I expect tires is going to be the faster way. 4 tires and fuel for the 42. He's down and away and clean stop. He's out to the racetrack where he's going to get off the access road or the exit road here and back onto the racetrack. Clean and nice for the 42. Hopefully he can capitalize on his now fresh Goodyear rubber.
Yeah, I mean, he's done everything he can do, right? I mean, you're going to the end from here, and now it's just about matching the pace that you had at the initial green flag that puts you in the lead. He led most of this race, although Jake Nichols is pretty quickly running that number down. But points don't matter for Connor Horn tonight. He needs to win. The only driver that is currently poised to beat him is this 73 car, but he had a pretty sizable advantage, and the tire wear hasn't been there to where I'd expect him to lose the lead on tires alone. So we'll see how it pans out. But Connor's got a rabbit to chase, and the 73 doesn't, so that might factor in here.
Definitely my ear. Connor Horn's working through traffic right now. Just got past Cosmin Yonishibu and Dom DeLeo on the track, and he's going very quick. And the big issue really for the 42 with these fresher tires now is that he's got to work through some traffic. He's significantly quicker than them, but it's going to cost him a little bit of time and effort trying to get around them.
I'm actually shocked. I thought he'd go 2 laps down from pitting on the green, but with him being so close to the leader, Jake Nichols, it is going to work out nice for him. And if we do get a caution, it's good throw him back on the lead lap.
And we're running out of laps, only 20 minutes of racing to go. And could we get a late race yellow that throws a real wrench into this? Connor is now the free pass car, so that danger has gone. But we've only seen cars get more stable as the night goes on. Here are things as they run. Newbigin now the first driver out, Poole in, as the pit strategy starts to unfold.
Oh man, Carter's getting really close to the back of some of these drivers. I'm just kind of riding on board with him as he's working on through. Got all the way up to the back of Cedric Hunter here, just trying to work his way on by as we look at Douglas Newbigin. These 2 guys have been in a tough fight. Newbigin and Poole we're looking at right here, because they're battling not only on the racetrack but in the points as well.
Newbigin cannot afford to lose any spots as it shows. Only 3 points separating the 26 and the 71 from who makes it in and who doesn't make it in. Now this is all without the possibility of Connor Horn winning, because he's back to 27 below the cut line, but anything can happen here. Near 50 to go, but the 9th place car, Doug Newbigin, gonna have to make up a few more spots if he wants to swap himself out with JT Poole for that final cutoff spot.
Down into turn 1. Closing in on 50 laps to go. Connor Horn still clicking away laps that are about a half second quicker than Jake Nichols. And he's going quicker than I thought he was going to go. And frankly, a couple more laps in Infinity, he might be actually in a position to overtake Jake Nichols. But we saw, I mean, 50 laps to go this time through. Yeah, Jake's going to have to come at some point, right?
That's what I'm kind of debating. I feel like we're at the way the cautions came out, I feel like we're at such a point where it could go very much either which way. These guys could decide either they want to stay out, just kind of manage the tires, but you obviously would have had a plan on saving your tires for the entire run, or they might come in, but I almost feel like we're kind of past that point. Like, if they stay out, I think an extra 10 laps, I think they're definitely going to be making it to the end. I don't think they're going to be coming in, because at that point, with 40 to go, you really don't have that many laps left to make things up. So if you're going to want to pit and get fresh tires, you really need to come in now or within the next 10 laps. Otherwise, you're not really going to get the most benefit out of it.
Well, the one guy that we can look at for this is the 2 of Greg Mitchell, who Connor Horn just passed. He's on 89 laps now since his last pit stop. So we can see if he can go any further with fuel than the leaders of Nichols and Scioli, but we'll have to keep an eye on that for the time being as Connor Horn continues to work his way through the top 10, trying to get his lap back.
Yeah, now, Connor went almost 100 laps, so we know he can at least go that far. But, I don't know, pushing 110 feels like a lot unless you were purposely saving from the drop. Jake Nichols dealing with some traffic there. The 64 changes lanes. But this was a really risky, I mean, the problem is for Connor, this is a risky call, a risky strategy. However, it was also the safest one, because had he pit earlier and gotten trapped behind some cars and gotten into a wreck, it would have been over. He was out front leading. Yeah. He had to do this strategy as is. He's doing it to the book. It's just, is the ending written the way that Connor wants to read it is the question.
It really is, because I mean, he did play, I think, the best cards that he was dealt with. And now it's just a matter of it, really, everyone else, how they play their hand. And he's just kind of on for the ride. Because when this cycles out, he should be the leader. I'm curious to see how much the lead is going to be to Jake if everyone does come in and again taking a look at the points as they run. See, Connor's in the worst situation out of anyone. Mainly because, again, his situation, it's all or nothing, and also him running in 18th.
So soon, I think his best strategy will be to get a yellow and stay out because, I mean, he'll get the free pass, but I think he'll be able to hang on in a short run with the tires he's got, but he's going to need a little bit of luck to, well, maybe not. The 26 and the 71, these are 2 drivers that, with Connor back there, they're fighting for the cut line. Again, look how close it is. 3 points between them, and it's going to swap here as Newbegin goes by Poole.
Not quite able to get clear. Poole still fighting him hard. Again, these guys, like you mentioned, in that tight battle, they're not willing to give each other any space. You know, you talk about give a lot of take. It's all take at this point in the season and in this race. Poole trying to hang on that outside lane and get something done. Bryce Senizek has come down to pit lane, although he's a couple laps down.
And Newbegin completes the pass, and not for the time being. Here comes a crossover from JT Poole. Looks like the 71 got a little too free in turn 2. Could have cost him that spot. Was just going to say, Poole could afford to lose a spot or two as things stand, but Newbegin, he absolutely cannot. So if he overdrives it anymore, it's going to put more wear on the tires, and they might lose ground from the 26 of JT Poole.
Galante Ballard and Tyler Nichols, teammates there fighting pretty fiercely, actually. And Cedric Hunter and Michael Curhan. And Dom DeLeo back here for 13th place.
That's nice fights all over the track. It's being one of the most involved ones. These 3 cars fighting for 12th place. 13th place.
The pace is not there from Connor to run down Jake Nichols on pace alone, so he's going to need that yellow flag in the next 30 laps or so.
I was going to say, I think the big thing, though, he has to make sure he gets clear of Jake Nichols, because if a caution does come out now, he'll get the lucky dog. Actually, he won't, because Ben Peters has it.
Right. But before, he could have just stayed out with that lucky dog and been in a better position.
Well, the thing is, if you get the lucky dog, is you get an EOL. You'll get your lap back in the EOL.
Right.
So he'd have to outright get back on the lead lap, which he's not too far. He's got Jake Nichols just up ahead of him now. He's just about, I think, 2-3 seconds up the road.
There he is.
Looking at the lap times here, 23.2 from Jake Nichols. Connor Horn's been running 22.7s. They're now dipping into the 22.8s, but he might have been making a pass there, so we'll have to see what it refreshes as they come through. 22.7 that time from Horn, so he is about 5 to 6 tenths quicker per lap than the leader, Jake Nichols.
It's not enough. It had to be closer to 3/4 of a second a lap and be able to sustain that for the next 30 laps or so. Not looking likely. His really needs to be unlapped and then get that yellow flag and then stay out and just hope. Bobble there from the 4.
Well, he's got to hope that someone's arm is itchy.
That would never happen at Richmond. Especially not in real life.
Wouldn't happen to Clinton Boyer either. Don't ask Michael Walker what happened on that
what
night.
I just heard. No, I also wanted to document. You guys are on the nose. Connor, as he gets himself unlapped rate coming up, is going to be about 20. But when I pegged it about 5 laps ago, he was 26 seconds behind Jake Nichols on the racetrack as he goes for the move back to unlap himself, and he needed to be about 6.5 tenths a second per lap faster than the 73, and he's not making that right now. He's only about half a second faster, and like Kyle said, you have to sustain that throughout the run too. I just don't see it on the cards for the 42. It looks like staying out might be the play.
Well, again, a yellow flag could change everything, but we just haven't had one. Our last green flag was basically a half hour ago, 8:43 Central on my clock. It is now 9:15, so it's been a long time since we've seen a yellow flag, and unlikely, especially with the trends that Hunter talked about earlier. But we've been proven wrong before, and we've broken trends before, so it's not counted out. It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, definitely not, especially because there are still cars battling on the racetrack, so there's very much chance drivers can't collide, and it's been pretty heated battles with several drivers. JT Poole picks up another spot. Cameron Hearn running a very unorthodox line. I've seen him up there a lot. I'm not sure if this is on purpose or not, or he's got a tire going down, or what's going on with him.
I think he's just vibing, just grooving. He's in 10th.
Vibing is the new word for got a tire vibration. I'm vibing in the right front. We'll stack up here behind Galante Ballard. Dom DeLeo not really willing to wait around. So
There he goes for the look to the inside.
let's check in on bonus points for those. Oh, the 21 gets turned! There's the yellow flag, and it all changes now. I almost spoke too soon. It all changes now with just over 30 laps to go. Oh, boy.
Oh boy, indeed.
Connor Horn
whose
just
arm got itchy there?
Ooh, yeah, the 21 just kind of, not sure if he came down the racetrack there a little bit or kind of, there was a gap filled by Yoneshiwu.
I think it was Yoneshiwu that just...
Yeah.
Well, yep, not quite a space there, but he made it for a second. Puts the 21 in the wall. So, as this, I was just about to mention, laps led. So, Jake Nichols has led 59 laps. I believe that's most of anybody tonight. Connor has led less than that. He has led 42. And those are your primary lap leaders so far this race. Seth Knoll has led 27. So the least of everybody. And they are on pit lane. What is the 42 doing?
Oh, he's coming down.
I don't know if I get that. I mean, look, here's what I predict is going to happen. We're going to get some more yellows to close this race out. So I would have stayed out and chanced it.
Yeah, I would have too.
Maybe there's a
Only
two-tire
thing,
call.
I think he might take. I think he takes 2 here.
But does
I think that's definitely the better thing to do.
But he's still going to get buried here in track position, guys. He's going to have to hope that he can outrun drivers on 4 tires. I mean, he's got to be. Well, he's taking 4. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I was going to say from what we've seen with Area especially is that get that late race caution Usually it ends up benefiting the drivers in the front that stay out and don't come into the pits because you just kind of put yourself back in traffic. And especially, we only have 30 laps. It's not a whole lot at Richmond. It's going to go by very quickly, and he's just restarting only back at 15th.
Yeah, I think I would have rather have been in the advantage position here, which would have been leading, just because I think we'd get some more yellows here, Hunter. But your stats have said that we don't typically get late race yellows. But if we do, maybe there's a rash of them coming.
Well, my stats say we don't get hardly any yellows here at this track, but that went out the window.
Yeah.
I will say, though, for the season overall, the average lap of the last caution is around 28 to go, which, oddly enough, we are at 28 to go when they cross the stripe now. So we're in that time frame. However, we have had 5 overtime finishes on the season, and if you're wondering where the last one was, you got to go back to Talladega. So that was a chaotic one in itself, but we have yet to see one in the postseason so far.
Have a look at GT Pool and Douglas Zimmy warming up their tires. You can see that they're like dipping down onto the apron. Apparently, there's like a weird quirk with tires where apparently by doing that, you actually get the tires warmed up quicker than if you were to just do it on the banking.
I thought that got banned at the Pro Series level.
Well, you got banned in the Pro Series. Like, they can't do it in the Pro Series. You can do it in here in area.
And no rule against it here.
You're right.
Using all the tools.
Not yet.
Not yet.
There's a first time for everything. So there's a look at your playoff grid. Again, the 3 drivers locked in: Knoll, Nichols, Scioli. So it's either Poole, Newbegin, Hartz, Beckner, or Horn that will make it in. Beckner is back 22nd, 8 laps down. No way he can win this race mathematically. Not going to happen. Ryan Hartz is 15 laps down. No way he can win this race. He can still point his way in. The only drivers that can point their way in: Newbegin. That's really it. Newbegin and Poole. Yeah. And then Connor Horn can win. Eric Wineland, what you got before we go back green?
You bet your butts that there will be a rule implemented probably next season regarding what I just saw. Just wanted to give you guys a note. The 21 not happy whatsoever, both with the 84 of Cosmin Yonishiu and race control. He felt the incident should have gone the other way, and I understand his frustrations.
Me too. Green flag. We're back underway. Is there going to be late race drama? The 42 needs to win this race. He's got a charge. He's 3 wide for a moment behind the 11. The 73 gets clear. If this race goes green to the end, Connor's got one heck of a task on his plate.
Yeah, the thing is, he has to be aggressive and not too aggressive. He doesn't want to get himself a penalty and put it in the back. Who, meanwhile, up ahead, Michael Sturgeon a little bit loose off of turn 4.
Right in front of the 42. They scatter Connors through. Hearn back up across the track. Whew. Caution out.
Yeah,
Connor up to 9th.
Wide. They were 3 wide for second place as well, heading turn 1. So if the wreck wasn't there, it might have happened up further through the order. We'll take a look at what happened here. Chaos off of turn 4. Start with Newbegin getting into JT Poole. Cameron Hearn and Dom DeLeo going for a spin. And then, whoa, everyone avoiding it at the end.
You mentioned the 3 wide off into 1. Here's what that looked like, Hunter.
That could have been real bad in the back, and could have been bad up here. Fortunate that the yellow did come out. Otherwise, we could have seen it happen towards the front with Scioli, Sturgill, and there's the 4 of Hearn spinning, and watch Yonishiwu.
Oh,
wow. Just barely avoiding that. Great wreck avoidance there from a colorful Yonishiwu machine.
Yonishiwu machine. Say that 10 times fast. So, all right, guys, we went green.
Connor got put back to 11th place after it got resorted back out.
Yep, it's still a gain of 4 spots in a lap or 2. I mean, he's just got to have a lot more restarts like that and play to the chaos here. Again, I'd still have rather been in the position where he didn't pit and had the track position to burn.
Ooh, is Newbegin? Well, I don't know what's going on with him. I thought they were going to give him the EOL for that, but it looks like they're just trying to sort out his position. Looks like 9th from what I'm seeing.
JT Poole, we haven't really talked a whole lot about his night tonight, but he's one of those drivers that is kind of on the brink of pointing his way in. He doesn't want that 42 to win, and he wants that 71 to struggle some more. It's tight, but the 26, as it stands, is the one in right now. So it's And he's really the one that stands to lose the most in the next 22 laps or so.
Yeah, and you can bet that GT Pool is going to fight really hard, both to keep in that 71 and the 42, because they're both going to be starting in behind him on the inside lane when we get the green flag again. So he's going to do everything he can to keep them in behind, because that way if he can keep them in behind, he can move on forward. Reinhardt is really not going to pick up any spots for any of those wondering. Because we got how many laps to go? Not too many, just about 20 laps to go. He's 15 laps down, and he would need someone else to wreck right now.
If there's a 5-car wreck and they all have catastrophic damage, that takes him out of the race. It might.
Yes.
He might have a shot at it.
He might have a shot. Yes.
Never say never. Eric,
Big one at Richmond.
Eric, what you got?
Hello, Eric.
Let's take a listen in to Cameron Hearn and get his opinion on the incident.
It's just stupid. This is what's going to be like the rest of the race. You got guys literally...
Oh, yeah, we're not going more than 4 or 5 laps.
Let those guys go before the caution. Let them go, and the guys that let go end up getting me dumped.
Yeah, man, that's just the story of it. No one gives and no one takes.
Really want a pizza.
I like Cameron Hearn's idea. I really want a pizza as well, Cameron.
Yeah, I could also really use a pizza. Can we order a pizza?
Well, we'll see how
dinner.
See how this race gets sliced and how the cookie crumbles. And
But I can bet you that Connor Horn also would absolutely love this race to go the way Cameron Hearn described it, just having 4 or 5 laps and having a wreck every single time, because that way he can make up the most amount of spots.
at some point, he will need to pass Jake Nichols. But
I mean, well, Tony Stewart said he wrecked his mom for a championship. I don't think Connor Horn does.
well, here's the problem: is you wreck him this week, you're gonna have to race him again next week too.
Well, I mean, if you do, but here's the thing: but it's better than the alternative. You don't wreck him this week, you don't have a chance of wrecking him next or being wrecked next
I
week.
mean, you can still wreck him next week. It's just not going to be for much.
So, it's a matter of being, whether or not you're getting wrecked for nothing or wrecked for a championship. So,
Wow. And remember last season, guys, the penultimate race of the season at Fontana. Remember what happened to the 73?
no, yeah.
He got turned and hooked into the outside wall,
Where's Connor Kresick?
coming to the checkered. So Jake knows the pain of being an expendable bollard in the way of success in the Area Cup Series. Here we go. 20 laps to go. Make it 19 on the restart. Nichols and Scioli, green flag. We're back underway again.
Oh, no, with a very aggressive start, going to immediately look to the outside of the 7, almost punted him off into turn 1. Circle on the inside and in behind them. Everyone fanning out 3 wide in the back of the field. Martin, Miller, and Curran 3 wide.
Connor slicing and dicing here, Hunter. Big dive into turn 3.
He's all over the bumper of Poole now, a driver that he needs to get by. He's running 9th at the moment, but they're 3 deep coming out of the turn. Garrett Grant up in front, making him dive down into turn 1. Oh my goodness, it is chaotic right behind Horn.
Out of turn 2. Still 3 wide. Now they're cycling to just 2. Connor hitting a roadblock of cars here. Tyler Nichols on the outside. JT Poole ahead of him. He's working the wheel.
Whoa,
Big
Sturgill
slide.
sideways, and Garrett Grant also sideways. Sturgill blocking the middle of the track. JT Poole getting into the back of him. Connor Horn diving down on the inside, up around all of that.
Oh, look
Wow.
out.
And they're going to
Oh,
crash
my
behind him if
goodness.
they don't get it sorted. They're coming together.
Oh,
3
we're crashing up
wide.
ahead. Mitchell into the wall, almost hit Connor Horn. He's avoiding everything.
This is
goodness.
chaos. Through turns 3 and 4, we're still 3 wide.
There's no way we're going to be green for the next couple of laps.
Oh, boy.
They're all so close together. Everyone's on different speeds as well.
No way.
Oh, it's going to be right here.
I thought that 3 laps ago.
Oh, man.
Oh, there it is. Look out. The 84 got shuffled. He keeps it straight somehow, some way. We keep rolling straight. Connor Horn up to 4th past Garrett Grant. 15 laps to go.
There's still 3 wide in this mess, still not sorted out. Whoa, the 12 getting crowded by the 41 with Tyler Nichols. And they finally go back out to 2 wide.
My goodness, it took them long enough, but they're still going at it. Even if they're door-to-door. Barroso, Tyler Nichols, Tom DeLeo's there. I think it's Cameron Hearn right behind him too.
Still a volatile spot right here. Now that things are a little less chaotic, drivers are sending it a bit deeper, a bit harder, a bit later. Try to make up some ground. Watch the 22 and the 4 here.
Any little incident can cause a chain reaction and cause a caution to come out, which Connor Horn would love. Meanwhile, up ahead, Seth Knoll, big dive to the inside on James Scully. He caught back up to the 7, made a move, and now he's up that spot. Connor Horn, meanwhile, trying to chase them down on the green and yellow machine in behind them.
He was the fastest car last time by of the front 5, but not by a lot, only 8 thousandths over the 73. Another yellow would totally change the landscape of this race again. Here's a look at things as they stand. JT Poole, 4 points above the cut line.
I'm sure Connor Horn's probably chanting to himself, yellow, 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 just hoping that it would happen, especially probably seeing everything in his mirror. There we go, 3 wide there, coming off of turn 4 in the middle of the pack. This could end great or ugly, depending on how things go.
Still 3 wide.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Newbigging either. He's going to need a yellow or 2 to get himself back into it, as Greg Mitchell and Garrett Grant up ahead, fighting for the top 5. Grant looking for a solid finish. That was the 2 of Mitchell. JT Poole trying to get some more insurance points. He's right behind these 2.
10 laps to go. Time's running out. Horn still ticking away laps that are really as fast or faster than the top 5. The 2's in the wall.
Depending on how hard these 2 fight, this could end ugly. JT Poole in the middle of it as well, just trying to secure and make sure that he's got enough points to make it on through.
Don't want to get caught up in any sort of chaos here, as the 2 of Mitchell, despite hitting the wall, trying to clear Grant for 5th. Meanwhile, Barroso and Dom DeLeo still fighting. Whoa! And up in front of them, I think that's Cameron Hearn that was swerving right next to the Cedric Hunter machine, 12th and 13th on the track.
Gathered it up. The 71's loose. He's in the wall at a 4.
Yeah, big hit for him. Ryan Hartz is inside it, Robertson in behind him.
All the while, Connor Horn losing ground to Nichols. I don't know that he's going to be able to do it on raw pace alone. He's going to need assistance from a yellow again. Little pockets of chaos everywhere.
Garrett Grant getting very close to the rear quarter panel of the 2 of Greg Mitchell. JT Poole just sitting in behind, debating if he wants to try to attempt passing these 2 or just sit in behind and avoid just being involved in some sort of caution. Here comes Michael Sturgill now looking to the outside. The 2 checking up. Oh, this could end up ugly here.
There's battles all throughout the top 10, and even for the 5th spot, Grant's still keeping it to the 2 of Mitchell on the bottom. But right behind these guys, you got Jeremy Miller, Jordan Martin, and Michael Kern all fighting for that top 10 spot. It's getting closer and closer off 2, but the 5 of Grant up front not giving up that 5th spot yet.
Not giving it up. 5 laps to go. A little bit of shoulder rubbing back here. The 30 and the 11. The 24's in it as well. 3 wide.
Greg Mitchell sideways off the corners. You go 3 wide here in the middle of the field. Jeremy Miller going to cut the door shut on the inside just ahead of Michael Curran. Rolls rectum. There they go. Caution out.
Oh, boy. Oh, there it is again. Caution out. And the opportunity continues. JT Poole did not want to see that. It's one more opportunity for Connor Horn to do something with it. And that was a big stack up out of turn 4, I believe.
2.
Turn 2. And the 24 gets into the 30, and he just goes up the racetrack. The 4 spins.
And the 2 guys that we're talking about, let them race it out because there's going to be caution after caution. DeLeo and Cameron Hearn right in the middle of that. But I did say that we had 5 overtime finishes heading into this race on the season. Looks like we're about to make it 6.
Yeah. So Nichols is going to clinch the most laps led here. Not that that would do much for him. So Connor Horn's going to restart in the 2nd row, likely behind Seth Knoll. And he's going to have 2 laps to get there. It is a lofty goal, but it is not impossible.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he's got enough pace here. We've got very few laps remaining. And actually, I think are we going overtime? I think we are, right?
Yeah, we will be.
So he's only going to have 1 shy here. And he's going to have to make up 4 spots, and not only just 4 spots, but on pretty much the quickest drivers that we've seen tonight, the 73, the 1, and the 7. So it's going to take a big dive to try to make
Here's
up all
another
those
thing
spots.
I'll say another thing that stacks up against him. Every time we've seen this restart, the leader just has a 4 or 5 car length gap heading into turn 1. So the restart zone is very crucial here because the leader just launches immediately as he gets into the zone. So it's going to be tough here for the 42, but it's a chance nonetheless. Had it not gone caution free, it would have been disaster for the 42. But he still has a fighting chance here, but not a lot of time.
So we are now over our scheduled distance. It was 160 laps. There are now 161 on the board. That means that we are officially in our overtime. And what that means is if we go back green and the yellow comes back out before the white flag, the race is over. If we make it to the white flag, better hope that you're far enough away from Connor Horn if you're the 73.
Dive, dive, dive.
It's a term called the Louisiana dive bomb. In other words, Big Ten.
Hopefully this dive goes better than Ocean Gate, but
Well, all right. Well, it is 10:30 here on the East Coast, 9:30 for Kyle Heyer, but
just saying.
hey, we're in the deep ends of this race, figuratively and literally.
Oh no!
I was just about to say, the one of Seth Knoll he's been on the outside the last couple laps. He's ready to go. He's eager to try and match the restart that the 73 and Nichols will get. We get one to go, Kyle.
Well, the pressure is certainly mounting for Connor Horn.
Yeah.
Hopefully it
And-
equalizes before it.
Was that another?
implodes on
Was that another one?
Darn it! I was
Yep,
going to make
I
that
knew
joke.
it.
Oh,
I
you
knew
stole
it.
it from me.
I'm
I was gonna make
sorry,
an
it's
implosion
right
joke.
there. It's right there.
I was like waiting to get a chance to make an
I'm
implosion
sorry,
joke.
it's just too good.
As soon as he said pressure, I knew what was coming.
Yeah, I kind of knew too. I was hoping he wouldn't go there.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway.
Jokes aside,
Whew, coming back to the green. 2 laps to go. Jake Nichols in command. The top 2 drivers are locked in. So actually, top 3 are locked in. Connor Horn
Pretty
needs
much,
to
yeah.
win this race, or the last playoff spot will go to somebody else. Green flag, a great launch from the 73.
yeah, that's a great launch for the 1. Connor Horn trying to see if he can get around the 1 as quickly as possible. Garrett Grant sits inside, so he can't even go there. Ooh, James Scott looking a little bit loose at that send off into turns 1 and 2. And Noel almost in the wall. Horn a bit in the wall, just trying to find some way around.
I just don't know that he can do it here, Hunter. He's going to have 1.25 laps to do it, and just not enough time.
We have 1 to go here as Connor Horn is looking to send it on the 1 of Noel Hennon to turn 1. Needs every spot that he can get. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. It could still come down to Scioli or Jake Nichols.
Down the back straightaway for the final time. Crash behind him. It's a big one. Into turn 3, though. Jake Nichols, last season, got crashed in the penultimate race. Went on to win the championship. He will win at Richmond. Set himself up for a championship 4 run. Connor Horn comes up short as they pile into Seth Knoll, coming across the start-finish line.
And Horn and Noel during each other at the line. Noel beat him out by 0.02 of a second.
It wouldn't have mattered anyway. So Connor Horn will be eliminated from the playoffs and will not compete for a title this season. Here's the crash off of turn 2 that kind of kicked off the action here. The 30 and the 22 get together, and Newbegin collected in that. That would have been a critical moment. JT Poole comes home in 7th place.
Oh, wow. It continued into 3.
Yep. But all that aside, unofficial points. Here is the look at it. JT Poole in unofficially by 4 points. And he would be the one that would go on, be the 4th driver in that final 4 for the title.
Yeah, well done for JT, just making sure he didn't make any mistakes. Really didn't get involved in anything. For better or for worse, you saw Beckner, Hartz, and Douglas Newman there right at the end all get involved in their own issues throughout the night as Jake Nichols lights it up and goes for a Polish victory lap. Track.
A lot of pressure on yourself when you try to do it for state.
And you see JT. Well, he certainly feels like he's in, and that's what the points tell us. Of course, we'll wait for the official word, but feeling satisfied with a 7th place run. 7th isn't going to do it next week, though, I can tell you that much. You're going to have to be competing for a win. at Homestead. Here's a look at your race results. Jake Nichols wins another one, and this is a well-timed race. And as far as the season has gone, we've said he hasn't had, the best of seasons. Well, now he's tied for the most again, tied with 5 wins with the driver that finished second, James Scioli. Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be very interesting now going to the final round, tied on wins for both of them, both very strong drivers. And then you also keep Seth Knoll in that mix. So all 3 of them looking very strong and finished in that top 3.
Yeah, I feel like it's still the what-if factor, though. If Connor Horn stays out while everyone else comes into pit, would he have had a better chance?
Yes, he would have, I think. But I guess it almost worked. Just ran out of time. Here's a look at 11 through 20. Douglas Newbegin just had a miserable night. Could never get the momentum facing the right direction. And he finishes in 20th place and is also eliminated from the playoffs. And then for Travis Beckner and Ryan Hartz, the 2 that we thought were the most likely to move on, and neither of them will.
No, they just found trouble early. I mean, for Travis Beckner, he found trouble before the green flag even flew. And it just was downhill from there. He tried to bounce back, kept that car in it, ran it till the end. But again, with that damage and how many laps he was down and off the pace, just wasn't enough to bounce back. And then for Ryan Hartz, too, just tried to stay out of everything, got involved in an incident that was not of his own, but it was enough to set him back 15 laps and 23rd finishing place and out of the playoffs.
Let's talk with our second place finisher, James Scioli. He will go on and be one of the final 4 competitors for the Area Cup Series title this season. James, tonight was an interesting race, a hard-fought one all night long, tooth and nail. Tensions were rising, but you had a pretty good cushion coming in, and you locked yourself in with a second place tonight. Just shy of a win, but take us through your night with a little bit less pressure than some of those around you.
Yeah, it was definitely nice to not have to worry about points and try and do any calculating or anything coming in. I knew I was plus 40, and then when I saw the total number of entry list, I knew I was pretty much locked in. So just going for a win after that, and unfortunately just didn't have the speed tonight. Tire saving, unfortunately, didn't matter. This track's really fun when you got to worry about the rear tires a lot. But, I mean, we had that really long run, and after I pitted, I still had 86, 87% on all my tires left. So just unfortunately no tire saving today. Didn't really fit into my wheelhouse, but hopefully, haven't driven it yet, but hopefully the Homestead setup's a little bit better and a little more tire savvy, a little more skill involved there, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, you will be competing for a title next week at Homestead. Congratulations, and you're tied for most wins. Do you think it comes down between you and Jake next week at Homestead?
Yeah, Seth's going to be there too. He's been really fast. I don't know who the 4th driver to make it is. Maybe JT Poole. Yep. And he's had some good speed all year too. So I think it's definitely going to be a hard-fought battle up front. I think you have to win the race to win the championship. So that's the plan, is to go in there with the intention of winning the race and nothing else. Checkers or records next week.
James Scioli, second place tonight in the number 7 in the Roasted Gems coffee car. James, we'll see you at Homestead.
Thanks, guys.
And Seth Knoll comes home in 3rd place tonight. Seth, you just lit the afterburners into playoffs this season. You advanced your way through to the Final 4, solidified your way last week out. So now your focus is just winning the championship, and you are certainly one of the favorites based on your performance the latter half of the season. All this aside, you now move into the Final 4, and the focus shifts. Goals for next week, and how do you feel about heading into Homestead?
I mean, I feel like I'm the 4, but we'll see how it plays out. We've had a good playoff run. I think, what do you got now? 4 straight top 5s? So, I mean, we're on a hot streak. We got to execute next week. Tonight we didn't execute the best we could. Struggled to get it to turn on that long run and just continuously lost time to Jake. And by the time we equaled out, it was just, we were so far back that there was no way I was going to be able to run it back down.
Well, Seth, you're going to be competing for a title next week. Congratulations on that. The runs have been strong. Best of luck to you next week at Homestead. It's going to be a blast to watch you, Jake, James, and JT go at it at Homestead.
All right, I gotta thank the sponsors: Kalusha Pines Landscaping, Thompson Pipe Group, Rick's Hot Sauce, Celsius, Area Shop, Black Buffalo, Holston River Machine, BG Creative, Puckett Films, and we got to thank the boys at Miller. And the Toyota was strong tonight, but just not strong enough for Jake.
Seth Knoll brings it home, 3rd place. We'll see you at Homestead, Seth. Good luck to you.
All right, appreciate it, boys.
And Jake Nichols gets his 5th win of the season in relatively dominant fashion. Now, we were all watching the 42 because he led a whole bunch of laps. He was in position. Pit strategy, cautions, it all cycled out to him finishing 4th without a run, an opportunity to run you back down, Jake, but a commanding 5th win of the season. Are you the favorite again to win this title, or are the other 3 behind you giving you some concern?
I think we're all just as good as the other. Depends on what kind of race we see next week. If we see typical Homestead, lots of fall off, a lot of off throttle time, I think the 73 will be pretty good. I love Homestead, especially when it drives a specific way, and I think it's going to trend that way. It fit my style tonight. It's funny how different it was last season. It didn't fit me at all. To be fair, I was just moping around last year or last season here, but I don't know. I was motivated. I didn't make a single pass for position last season in this race, and I guess I wanted to make at least one tonight, and we made a few. I think we had the best car. I know I was just kind of chilling behind Connor, letting him do his thing, trying to get away from the field, but we picked the right strategy and it worked out. Normally I picked the wrong one, but hopefully there's no strategy involved next week and we just try to outpace everybody, and it'll be a good one. We're all pretty fast, so I think we're going to put on a pretty dang good show, and you'll see the 73 up front most of the race.
Jake Nichols wins at Richmond. Jake, best of luck to you next week. We'll see you at Homestead.
Thank you. See you guys then.
And Eric Wineland got some audio from JT Poole, who is officially the final qualifier in to the playoffs next week, and audio from Ryan Hartz. Eric.
Yeah, you're good by 4. Hartz, you're out by 4.
Oh my God!
It's another one that got away. It's another season that gets
Oh
away.
my God!
JT Poole sounds pretty excited, Kyle. I think you should talk to him.
Yeah, let's bring him in here. JT Poole, officially the final qualifier into the Final 4 here in the Area Cup Series. JT, I know you're absolutely stoked. We could hear your energy after that. All night long, we were watching the 42, leading, playing the strategy, and then you just kind of snuck up there and stole it away when he couldn't get back to the win. So you're certainly in the show next week. You're battling for a championship. Do you think you can get it done?
I don't know. Jake and James are super quick, but if I could just be in the championship, that's pretty cool. I don't care if I run dead last next week, but yeah, I don't know how I got in. I thought my race was over whenever I got tail whipped by Garrett Grant, and then I saw my competitor Ryan Hartz and somewhat teammate get hit. I was like, oh man, I kind of have a chance at this. And then Newbigging was on my bumper for like the entire race. I was like, oh no, this isn't good. And then I don't know if he got caught up in, he got caught in some guy in the OL, and so I was super cautious those last couple of laps, but yeah, dude, I don't know what happened, but I'm glad I did.
Well, I don't know if we know what happened either. It happened so fast and so quick. JT, you put on a heck of a performance this season, but next week, I know you're excited to be in it, but you have a shot at a championship. Let's talk Homestead. How do you feel about that track, and do you think that you've got a shot even if the goal was just to get in?
Yeah, I don't know if y'all can hear that, but
no.
If you can, I apologize. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of good at Homestead, but I've never driven it the next gen. I do not like the next gen with the smooth underbody and diffuser. So I don't know if I'll be too good next week, but I'm gonna get a lot of practice in. I don't know. Hopefully, I figure out something because I'm gonna need to be substantially quicker than the other 3 guys because they have been quick all year. So I need to find something.
Best of luck to you, JT. Hey, congratulations, man. Well earned. Sneaking up there. Nice, solid 7th place finish. Good luck to you next week for the championship.
Thank you. And me and the guy that's hiding right now are about to play Rocket League on Twitch. So go to twitch.tv/ it's either JT_pool or JT.pool. Hold on, give me 1 second.
How do you not know your own Twitch?
Because I just started streaming today. Okay,
that's forgivable.
You're going crazy. All right, it's twitch.tv/ JT_pool. We're going to be going crazy in Rocket League. We're terrible, but it's entertaining, we think. So,
all right,
JT.
Tune in. Good luck there. Hope you have as much success there as you did here tonight. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, JT Poole.
I mean, that background music was incredible.
Oh, boy.
Rocket League in college just hits different. I'll tell you that. I live that.
Yeah. Well,
especially
boys,
streaming it.
Here is a look at your playoff positions here. As far as we are concerned, these are official. And what that means is that Jake Nichols, James Skiley, Seth Knoll, and JT Poole are your final 4. Eric, final thoughts on this race and looking forward to Homestead. This is going to be an epic brawl between these 4.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ignore the fact that it says Seth Noel was 30. He did win last week. Yours truly needs to work on the sheet a little bit. But man, he's so hot. I don't know how you can pick against him, Kyle. Finney and Hunter, I can't put my finger on who is the championship favorite. I would agree that JT is probably the biggest underdog, but man, this is such a strong 4 drivers headed to Homestead. I can't wait to see what these guys have in store next week.
Finian, final thoughts and your pick for next week.
Oh man, I really would want to pick Seth Noel because he, like Eric said, he's on such a hot streak. But I mean, if I were to pick someone other than the #1 machine, I mean, can you really go wrong with 73 Jake Nichols? It's not been the absolute dominance we saw from him last season, but he's been consistently strong. And besides the win column, he's been very, very consistent near the front of the field. So I think he's definitely got what it takes.
Hunter Sluppy, who you got?
I'm a fan of the underdog. I like JT Poole, kind of like the Ryan Newman effect, where he's consistent all year long, and then right at the very end, he has a fighting chance. I like the underdog story. I'm going with JT Poole.
All right. Well, I am going to pick the #7, James Scioli. He has been in position. He's got tied with the most wins on the season at 5. He was second tonight. I think James Scioli goes on to win the title. Richmond Raceway. This was a thrilling one tonight. Lots of yellows, lots of drama. That's how you want it to be coming into the season, or I guess the penultimate race of the season. But with all that aside, there's just one round remaining. It's at Homestead, Miami next week. Before we sign off, race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. And don't miss shop.areairacing.com and check out the merchandise to represent your favorite drivers and teams. Shop from the brand new selections of champion t-shirts, jackets, hats, and more. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areairacing.com. It all comes down to this, the 17th round of the season for the Area Cup Series. It's Homestead, Miami, and the title championship decided next week. But tomorrow, the Area Truck Series is heading to their penultimate race of the season at Gateway. We'll see you there tomorrow night from St. Louis. And then on Thursday, we're back here at Richmond for the Area Pro Series. We'll see you here, right here on Sim TV. Kyle Heyer, Finian DeCuna, Hunter Slappy, and Eric Weiland bringing to the action. And we'll see you for more Race to the Championships here this week from the Area iRacing League.